through my studio today and show you around how I create art here. So first off, these shelves are where I keep all of my art supplies as well as some of my product. And I actually do have a lot of physical art supplies. I have my block printing supplies as well as a bunch of miscellaneous things like paints and colored pencils. I also keep my packaging supplies here and my products here. So I have excess product like mouse pads, as well as easy access to things like my sticker books and the clothing that I sell. And you can find all of these products on my website. I also have this Cricut that I actually have never used. I got it for free from another artist who didn't need it anymore and have been meaning to play around with it, but just haven't yet. And then I have miscellaneous craft supplies, pencils for sketching, and my Dog Blossoms crate and some of her treats and things like that are down here as well. So moving over to this side of the room, I have a wall with a bunch of art on it, either taped or pinned up. And these are specifically art pieces that I don't want to frame for whatever reason. They don't fit the vibe of my framed gallery walls, but I still really like them, and so I keep them here for inspiration and things like that. There's a bunch of different artists throughout this wall, and some of these are pieces that I have made or pieces gotten for free or through an edition in things like a Kickstarter. You also might notice on the table in front of me, this is my main workspace. I have some prints that are sitting out because I need to serialize them and package them. These guys are for a stamp rally for SakuraCon, D&D OC stamp rally, which I'm very excited for. This little guy is a pseudo dragon named Philip. And then this guy is actually a reprint of a print that I had in stock probably about a year ago. And this guy isn't finished. I need to add hand-painted gold acrylic paint details. So the dice will have numbers on them, and the dragon will also have some gold details throughout. But excited to have these guys back in stock for SakuraCon as well. So my desk is where I do most of my digital work. I work mainly in vector programs. I've been using Affinity Designer. I swapped over from using Adobe Illustrator about a year ago now. And I have some little knickknacks on my desk. Really love my mechanical keyboard and the keycaps. They make me very happy. Also have some photos pinned up and some artwork. And these are all these smaller bits and bobs that can fit in that little tiny corner. And then finally, here are the shelves that are on this side of the room. These are more for decoration rather than storage per se. So they have a lot of little knickknacks, some from games, some from blind boxes that my sister gave me, as well as some zines that I have collected from different events, and this book, which I really love, by Natalie Anderson. It goes into the risograph process, how she creates her art, and also has a lot of pages of her art specifically. And then this little tearaway calendar was given to me in a trade with my good friend Cece and Projects by Cece on Instagram. And then I'll give you a sneak peek of my fiance's trinket shelf because his desk and computer are also in this room, but as you can see, I take up a lot of this room. But he has his little trinket shelf that has a lot of Waluigis, a lot of Gengar, and these are trinkets that he's just picked up from friends and family. If you are seeing that everything has changed, the lighting, my outfit, it's because I'm actually filming this clip a few days after I filmed all of the previous clips because I realized that I forgot a couple really big parts of my studio somehow. So this guy in the center is my flat file cabinet. It is honestly one of the most important things in my studio. It has my workspace up top, and then it houses a lot of my art paper and a lot of my products, from my stickers to my prints to my keychains. All of that gets put in this guy, And I was actually looking for a flat file for a really long time, because if you've ever taken a art class in an art studio, you might have seen something like this where they have a lot of the art paper in it. And it's really great for storing art paper because a lot of the times art paper is pretty long. And these are great because the drawers are pretty short and the unit itself is pretty deep. It's almost a square set of drawers because it's so deep and so wide, versus like, let's say, a set of drawers that are used as a dresser. The drawers are definitely rectangular shaped and also tend to be a lot higher because the things you're putting in them aren't flat, they have some height to them. And so I was looking for a set of flat files for a really long time because buying them new would have been really expensive. So I actually ended up getting this set of flat files, which is actually 2 sets of 5 drawers each off of Etsy. And the total was $750 plus $450 for shipping, which ended up being around $1,200 total, which was great because getting something like this new would have cost $1,000. And that would have been for just 1 set of 5 drawers. So if I wanted to get something equivalent to this new, it would have been probably at least $1,500, if not $2,000, plus whatever that shipping cost would have been. So expensive. Not saying that this wasn't expensive, but much cheaper than getting it new. And like I mentioned before, my workspace is up top, and it is an all glass workspace. This is because with printmaking, I often have to roll out my ink with a brayer so that I can roll that ink onto my block, whatever I'm printing with. And it's just easier for me if my entire workspace can act as my palette rather than having a smaller glass palette that I work from. Since I have the option to have just an all glass workspace, it just works better for me and it's more convenient. And then the last thing I want to point out to y'all and show you is my suitcase right over here. This actually is the suitcase that I use to take my display and my products to different events and markets. And when it's not going with me to a market, it lives in the studio. Usually off to the side so it doesn't get too in the way. But the fun story about this suitcase is you can see that it's actually Jeep branded. So at the end of 2024, my previous suitcase had the wheels break off, so I was looking to get a new one to take with me to events. I did a little bit of research into what suitcases had the best wheels because I'm taking this with me so often and often walking fairly far with it, and the wheels do get a lot of abuse and use. And what I ended up finding was that 2-wheeled suitcases are actually a lot sturdier in the wheel department than the 4-wheeled swivel suitcases. And I knew that I also wanted a hard case suitcase because I'm carrying prints and stickers and things like that that can be damaged if they are folded or if they get damp, things like that. So hard case was also important to me. So I was specifically looking for a 2-wheeled hard case suitcase. You would think there would be options, but surprisingly, there were like no options out there. And one of the only reputable places that I found that made a 2-wheeled hard case suitcase was the company that was partnering with Jeep to create Jeep branded luggage. And so I ended up purchasing this guy. Honestly, it's been really great. Having functioning wheels again is awesome, and this suitcase is actually a lot larger than my previous one, so I was able to fit more of my display pieces and fit more product into it as I continue expanding my product lines. So thanks for hanging out on the floor with me for this end clip and watching this studio tour. Don't forget to subscribe. I post videos every Monday about my artwork and what it's like running an art business. I will see you in the next one. Bye!